everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim. If you're new, thank you for joining us for this video. I hope you enjoy it and want to stick around and become part of the family. If you do, please click on the subscribe button. I would love for you to become part of my family. Here on YouTube, BookTube. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being a part of the family and coming to see what I do week to week. Alright, so let's dive in to the books that I did. So this is my Bookopoly update, wrap up of what books that I did actually do and finish throughout this time. Let me pull up what books I was actually supposed to read and get to the ones that I added on afterwards. Alright, I'm going to start with the two books that I did DNF that I just, for whatever reason, just could not get into them. Mostly because I was in a reading slump this entire month. It was so hectic and I was exhausted here at the end of the school year, so I kind of knew one book that's probably not a good idea to start, and that was quickly kind of ended at the very beginning of the month because it was just not the right time for that book. So that particular book was one of my picks for the Bookopoly. This was The Count of Monte Cristo. Again, it was not that I couldn't get into it. I was just so exhausted that because it is a classic, it takes more to kind of work through everything that was going on. And I got about 28 pages in, about 4 chapters in, out of 200 and something or 100 and something, I don't remember, but there's over 1,000 pages in this particular volume. But I just couldn't. I knew it when I picked it. For my classical option for Bookopoly, I could not do it, unfortunately. So that was the first to get DNF, just simply because I was exhausted and got into a reading slump. The second one, I started this one. This is The Hiding Place by C.J. Teeter. I got, so I have a bookmark, about 34, 35 pages in. I put it down. I never did pick it back up. I took it to work with me multiple days and several weeks. But like I said, I did have a week that I was completely sick, so that threw me out of my reading pace. And I just had no time at work to really pick up the books and read them there. So this did get put down. I do want to pick it up later. It's not going to be a DNF that I declutter on this book yet, at least. I do want to give it another chance when I'm more rested and have time, because it's not a very big book. So I think once I refresh myself, I'll be able to pick this up and read it, no problem. Because it does sound really interesting. I just got to have the energy to do it. I think since Friday, I've slept probably 24 hours straight with all my naps combined. All right. So getting to the books that I actually did read off of my list, I think I have all of them stacked up, and then the ones that I have e-copies of, I'll put them on the screen as well, and then the ones that I added to that I wasn't supposed to read but did. Alright, so this one I actually did finish today. This is Sunday the 29th, I think. No, 30th, something like that. It's the Sunday before Memorial Day, but I did finish this today. This is Shadow Game. It's the first book out of the Ghost Walker series by Christine Feehan. I ended up giving it a 4 stars. I did really enjoy it, but not as much, I think, like I did when I originally got it. That was years and years and years ago, over 10 plus years, but I still did really enjoy it. It sets the tone for it, and there are other books in the series that I have reread and read and read and reread, but this is a good start to the series. It sets everything up that goes on in the series later. So it is definitely a 4-star read. I would definitely start there if you're interested in the Ghost Walkers. It is a paranormal, military, romance, urban kind of fantasy type of thing. Very steamy scenes if you're into that as well for romance. It has a little bit of everything, and I really do enjoy the series as a whole. So a great start to a series. All right. This one was my club one of my clubs that I was in, just like the classical book was. It was one of my club books that I didn't actually finish. But this one is the second book of the Wheel of Time series. I am still part of that club. I did finish this one and start the third book. I really enjoyed it. It was fast-paced. If you follow me on Instagram, which is Passion for Books 79, you'll see my review there as well. If you follow me on Goodreads, I've posted, I think, the review for it there as well. I really did enjoy it. Got to know the characters better. In this book, it's very fast-paced. Again, I like his style of writing where he is giving you tons and tons of information, but you are experiencing it with the characters, so it doesn't feel, at least to me, as a huge info dumping session where you're having to absorb it all and then the action takes place. You're learning it as you go and experience the book. So I did really enjoy it, and book 2 of it, and then I'll give you my thoughts on book 3 once I get there. And that will come up next month. I'm only about 10 chapters into book 3. So book 2 was really good. I really enjoyed it. All the different conflicts going on, the tensions between the characters, all of that. It was really, really well done. So I did enjoy that. The third book, which was my third book club that I was in, this is The Blood of the Hydra. It is book 2 out of this. Again, this is my bound copy of it, so you'll see this a lot when I continue reading out of the series. I did enjoy it. I think I gave it a 3-star. Again, it is high school. It's very fast-paced. It's very quick. They're only about 145 pages each. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue the third book next month. I'm kind of getting burned out of it, so I may give it a break. And then also the club members weren't really discussing it with me, which is why I've continued the series, because I thought I would have more discussion going on, but they weren't really as engaging as I thought with it. But I may continue it because I do like Greek mythology. A lot of things went on, a lot of reconciliation between two female, kind of a mini love triangle going on, even though he did break up with his original girlfriend. So they are kind of working their way through all of that. So it was pretty interesting. But like I said, I do want to give myself a break from this a little bit and then come back to book 3, which is The Head of Medusa. So we shall pause on this one. I think I did give it at least 3 stars on it as well. All right, let's see, what else did I finish? I did finish The Darkest Lie. This is by Gina Showalter, and I'll put a picture up above as well. So I did finish it. I believe I gave it a 5-star rating on The Darkest Lie. This is Gideon and Scarlet. It was Gideon and Scarlet's story. A lot of things went on. It was, wow. I did think that the ending, it could have been cut a lot shorter, so I believe I gave it a 4-star for that. It just seemed to drag out just a little bit, and the ending, that I think it still could have wrapped up the same way, just been a little bit shorter. So I did enjoy it. That was probably, I think, one of the first or second books out of the series that I finally gotten to that I had not read before, so that was a very great experience. Again, I think it could have been shortened up a little bit and still would have had the same impact. Getting back to where I was at, I think we only have 2 more books to discuss, and then I think a third one. So the other one, I think the last one that was on my original TBR, this was Ash Princess. This was an audiobook that I started after The Darkest Lie. It was the start of a new series by Laura Sebastian. So this is the first book out of that series. It's a trilogy. It was okay. It was not quite what I was thinking it was going to be. There were a lot of angst stuff going on. In a way, kind of the development of kind of a love triangle between her and someone she grew up or almost grew up with until the Kaiser, I think they're called Kaiserin. No, that's their leader. before the invasion, one group took over another, and when she was about 6 years old or so, and then 10 years later. So anyways, the prince of the conquering people over the Ash Princess and then her countrymen. So it's kind of a love triangle between the prince, her, and a childhood friend at that time. It's kind of a development of that, and watching her come to terms of having to become a queen, having to be a little bit more ruthless, and still hold true to herself as well. So it was an interesting start. I'm not sure when or if I will continue the trilogy. I think I gave it a 4-star. Just not quite what I was expecting going in, that I may pick up on it later, because I do have another book that I want to start, and then several other free books off of the Audible that I need to get to as well. So we'll see if and when I do. I may just need the break with that particular book as I'm talking so much with my hands. Alright, so I think I have one more book to talk about, and I'll put it up here as well. This was Rescuing Melissa. This was a book from the Reveal book box. It's my romance subscription box. It was the 3rd book that I got. It was a free book given that I could request out of that one. So it's an e-copy book. So I don't have a physical copy of it. I believe I gave it a 4 or 5-star. It's also military romance, if I'm not mistaken. So let me get back to Goodreads. Yeah, I gave it a 5-star. It does have some okay. Yeah, this one is kind of a psychological, military, romance, thriller type of book. So it's kind of a little bit of everything. And I did give it a warning that there were some graphic, sexual, and physical abuse scenes that take place in this story. I was not expecting that when I went into it. It's called a romantic thriller suspense story is how I would describe it, between Melissa and CJ. It's been a while since I've read it, so I'm having to reread my thoughts on it. So CJ, she had been in a horrific marital abuse situation. She finds out her husband was a serial killer. He breaks out of prison. He comes after her, while at the same time another stalker, serial kidnapper, rapist finds her, becomes obsessed with her, wants her to be his queen over his kingdom that he is creating. So it was phenomenal. Very well done, but there are some scenes that were pretty graphic and were at times kind of hard to read of the nature of the book, but it makes sense to the story. It was just a little bit hard to read at times, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. I do want to get more books from her, but I know more about the author now and going into what to expect from her. And the author was Ellie Masters. So I did give it a 5-star. It's a great introduction, but just know going into it, there are a lot of adult content, a lot of graphic scenes, but it makes sense to the story and it's not in there just for effect. So I did really enjoy it. For the nature of the book, it was very suspenseful. A lot of stuff went on in it, and you weren't sure she was going to make it, but it was really good. I thoroughly, highly enjoyed it. Don't know if this might have been one of the books that was still on. This book is the 2nd book from the Ash and Blood, or sorry, a Blood and Ash novel. This is Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Oh, I love this series. I do. I'm not sure if it's going to be a trilogy or if it's going to be a full-blown series or not. I think there is a prequel coming out. It really is odd when authors do that, but it does. So I believe there is a prequel coming out this fall, and then the following spring there will be a 3rd book in the series. But this one follows Cal and Poppy continuing their story. I mean, it literally takes off exactly where they left it off. He proposes to her. They're on the way to Atlantia. A lot of stuff goes on in this book. Oh my God, it is so good. Yeah, it is so good. I thoroughly am enjoying my experience reading her work, and especially this trilogy series, whichever it's going to develop into being. I'm highly enjoying it. So a lot of stuff is going on. You're constantly guessing and developing theories about, you know, what is going on with her, why is she so special, and some things come out and pan out to be right. Some of your theories, you know, they're not quite there. It is so good. Yes, so yeah. If you haven't picked it up, if you haven't been around BookTube, I know this has been highly spoken about. I'm a little bit late to it because, again, fantasy romance was never high on my list of things I was reading before, so I'm late to the game, but I'm thoroughly enjoying my experience through it. Would highly recommend it. And if you like sassy, sarcastic, humorous characters, that's definitely a series for you to pick up. Alright, so I think that is finally all the books that were on my May TBR picks. So let's see what else, because I've been updating my Instagram of where I'm at. Okay, I think the only other book I need to talk about, it is a nonfiction book. It's called Fast, Feast, and Repeat. Again, just a personal book that I got into because I am doing started intermittent fasting. This is that, just giving me some more background knowledge on this. If you're an experienced IFer, then you may have already read it. Again, this book is by Jen Stevens. Again, it's not the end-all be-all book, but it's a good starting point, and I do want to read some more books based on intermittent fasting to get a good background knowledge on it, to apply it to my everyday life. I've already lost a little bit of weight, but I've done some body scans, and I can definitely tell the difference in the bloating. So internal changes are definitely taking place. And once I've become more rested and have the energy to start walking and doing a little bit more activity, the weight I think is still going to drop off even faster. But anywho, so that's a little bit just a personal me book. It was a nonfiction book, so I actually did read a nonfiction book. This is not the genre that I typically pick up, but it was a great, fascinating read, and she is a teacher. So that kind of fell in. She did a great way of breaking it down. A lot of things that she had read to break it down to more layman's terms to help you understand the science behind why this method of eating works. Okay. All right, so all in all, this month, not as good as previous months. So I've only read 8 books, I believe, total. Not too bad. I've been averaging around 8 to 10, somewhere around in there, typically each month. But anyways, I hope you have enjoyed this wrap-up. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I did want to update how I did on my Bookopoly journey for the month. And I will select another 5 books and then give myself the other books to read of whatever strikes me as interesting to read for the rest of the month. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and until my next video, I hope you have a great one. Bye guys!